Me now. Okay, everyone. My name is Anders Kato. I'm the Secretary General of IAML, and I would like to say very much welcome to this IAML online meeting, all the way from Stellenbosch, South Africa. A meeting where we will hear a lot about the University of Stellenbosch and of the upcoming IAML Congress taking place there in a little bit more than 3 months from now. This time, the meeting is set up slightly differently than what you normally are used to for IAML online meetings. The organizers in Stellenbosch have preferred to have the meeting on YouTube, and that is why you have received a link some time ago, and you can also see it on the screen of the first meeting I summoned you to. On YouTube, you cannot actively take part in the meeting, but there is a possibility to send questions. There will also be a possibility to send questions via WhatsApp, and I'm sure we will get instructions on that soon. And finally, I just want to say that it is a great pleasure for me and for IAML to finally have the chance to come to South Africa. I remember that I and Joseph Hafner had a chat with Ellen Thijs and Willem de Pop about it. I think it was during EFLA in Cape Town in 2015. They started working on it, and suddenly we had a proposal for a congress in 2021 in Stellenbosch. However, then the pandemic came and all things had to be postponed. But we are so happy that our colleagues in Stellenbosch have been so flexible and made it possible this year instead. And after this, I would like to welcome you all and hand over the speaker to the camera to Pia Schechter, President of IAML.
So, it is a pleasure for me to welcome you to the online event, An Afternoon in Stellenbosch, South Africa. During the following hour, we will enjoy a presentation on the Stellenbosch University Conservatoire, where our Congress will take place this summer, and the library with its diverse collections. Last but not least, we will hear about the program for the Congress. There will also be time to meet members of the organizing committee and ask questions you might have. I have been looking forward to this Congress ever since we received the application for Stellenbosch many years ago. As you well know, the pandemic created a lot of disturbances, and I'm grateful to the local organizers who were so accommodating when we had to rearrange the order of the coming congresses. I was very pleased when I studied the preliminary program and observed that many of the paper and poster presentations will be made by colleagues from African countries and deal with a variety of topics connected to the African musical heritage. We will learn about music research institutions and sound archives, as well as indigenous music and instruments, church music, popular music, and more. There will also be a presentation of the International Library of African Music, which is the greatest repository of African music in the world. The RILM session will focus on Africa, and I think that will be very interesting as well. The Congress will also be enriched by sessions organized by Digital Libraries for Musicology, DLFM. We have had the pleasure to collaborate with DLFM before, and it has always been appreciated. Something new for IAML is that the International Association for Sound and Audiovisual Archives, IASA, will hold a couple of workshops. I am especially happy about this, as it is my hope that IAML and IASA will continue to work closely together. Apart from the professional program, there are lots of social activities waiting for us, such as exclusive concerts, attractive Wednesday afternoon tours, and the farewell dinner. I have already signed up for the pre- and post-Congress tours to Kirstenbosch National Botanical Gardens and the villages Genadendal with its rich musical history, and Greyton. Apart from this, I haven't understood that we will have plenty of opportunities to enjoy really good wine during the Congress week. I hope very much to see many colleagues in Stellenbosch this summer. This is the first time IAML holds a Congress on African soil, and it is a wonderful opportunity to learn more about the vital music scene of Africa and be acquainted with colleagues from various countries on this vast continent. It is now my pleasure to hand over to Ellen Theis, Senior Director of the Library and Information Services at Stellenbosch University and Chair of the Local Organizing Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Pia. And also a warm welcome from my side here from sunny Stellenbosch in South Africa. And of course, also some of you joining us, probably it's already evening or good morning, so I'll say good morning and good evening and good afternoon. As Pia had already indicated and share with us our excitement of hosting IAML 2024 in Stellenbosch, South Africa. So we're looking forward to hosting the Congress this year and this afternoon to share with you what we think that we would like you to look forward to. And I'd also like to thank IAML for this opportunity this afternoon for us to introduce ourselves to you and then, as I said, to share with you what you can look forward to. So I will do a very brief presentation, just probably most of this you have already heard or had read about it. Thereafter, we will be followed by a video presentation about the Department of Music and the Stellenbosch University Music Library. And thereafter, you will hear from Willem Delpoort, a member of the local organizing committee from the University of Cape Town, who will then give a brief overview also of the program, the concerts and excursions that you can look forward to. So briefly, what can you look forward to as far as South Africa is concerned? South Africa is known, of course, for its scenic beauty, ranging from coastlines and pristine beaches, breathtaking mountain ranges, bushveld areas, waterfalls, forests, and coastal fynbos. Visiting Stellenbosch will also give you easy access to Cape Town, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, as well as the Cape Point Nature Reserve and Cape Agulhas. That's the southernmost point in Africa and where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans meet. As Pia had already referred to the wine, I do have to say something about also the wine industry and why it is so exciting, and I hope many of you to come to Stellenbosch, because it is one of the places that you definitely have to visit in South Africa, and it's the heart of the winelands in the Western Cape. And even though South Africa is considered as one of the new world wine countries, its wine history dates back some 350 years. The first grapes were pressed in 1659, and today South Africa is the world's 9th largest wine producer. The famous Route 62 is said to be the world's longest wine route, with seemingly countless wine farms, vineyards, and even brandy cellars. So South Africa is also a melting pot of cultures, which of course also has influence on the food scene. And here in Stellenbosch, you will definitely experience that. There's a variety in flavors. You can go from spicy Indian curry to hearty stew made in the cast iron pot over an open fire. And then for those who have not been to South Africa, yes, and the first time, our famous outdoor braai or barbecue. And then you can also have Malay curry, sushi, pap and vleis. So you have to come so that you come and share and experience this here. So what can you look forward to in terms of Stellenbosch University? So Stellenbosch is the second oldest town in South Africa, dating back to 1679, when an island in the Eerste River, not far from here, was named Stellenbosch by the then governor of the Cape, Simon van der Stel. Today, the area is primarily known for its extraordinary wines, fruit, world-renowned cultural landscapes, and exceptional scenic quality. It is also known for its natural beauty and oak-lined avenues, Cape Dutch, Georgian, and Victorian architecture, history and culture, and its wine routes. It houses also several excellent educational institutions, of which, of course, Stellenbosch University is one, you can see I have the wine all over, is one, of course, here and one of the top higher education institutions on the continent. It has a strong business sector varying from major South African businesses and corporations to smaller enterprises and home industries. Stellenbosch vineyards and mountainous nature reserves provide a range of unforgettable outdoor experiences. It is a fantastic destination for those who love getting out in the open air, engaging in physical activity. However, I would like you not to be too adventurous because you will be here when it's winter. And we hosted last year the Open Repositories Conference. So even though it was also in June, a little bit earlier, many of the delegates did some of the hiking, and we had to here and there caution them to be not too adventurous. However, the area is also known for its quality award-winning restaurants and energetic cafe culture, featuring an array of sidewalks, cafes, and eateries. And you will find probably the same scene in Europe or in other parts of the world. So the venue where the conference will be held, we've heard about it. That will be covered in the video presentation. But just one thing that I'd like to mention, because I can't recall if it is covered, is that when we think about the university, and particularly the Department of Music, that the university is also home to the acclaimed Stellenbosch University Choir, currently ranked #1 on the Interculture World Ranking list of the top 1,000 international choirs. Unfortunately, we're not able to have them perform during the time that the Congress will be held. Then in terms of music libraries in South Africa, besides Stellenbosch University Music Library, which is fully covered in the video, there are also 6 other music libraries within music departments at academic institutions, and also one of the largest academic music libraries in South Africa. So there are also 4 academic libraries with music collections and 7 orchestra libraries in South Africa. Music departments with music libraries include, for example, also Northwest University, Rhodes University, University of Cape Town, University of the Free State, University of KwaZulu-Natal, and the University of Pretoria. The music collections in academic libraries, but not dedicated music libraries, include Nelson Mandela University, University of Fort Hare, University of South Africa, and the University of the Witwatersrand. There are also many orchestra libraries and collections of the Cape Town Philharmonic Orchestra, the Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra, the KwaZulu-Natal Philharmonic Orchestra, as well as the South African Broadcasting Corporation Music Library, and several private orchestra libraries as well. The various music libraries complement each other, especially in the areas of collection development, as each music library's collection development policy support the curriculum and programs of the departments they are affiliated with. The collaboration between Stellenbosch University Music Library and the W.H. Bell Music Library at UCT, at the University of Cape Town, is a prime example of libraries supporting each other to the advantage of their clients. So finally, it is indeed a great privilege for us to host the Congress. And apart from the attractive social program, and this is particularly, I'm actually quoting Pia here herself, when she communicated with me recently, that apart from the attractive social program, Congress tours, concerts, excursions, and the final dinner in beautiful surroundings, the professional program is coming along also very nicely. As Pia said to me in her email, and I'm paraphrasing now, I hope this will be an opportunity for many of you who will be South Africa for the first time, or even attending IAML for the first time, to learn more about music libraries and archives in Africa, and about the musical traditions from different parts of the continent. We look forward to meeting you here in Stellenbosch in July. So we will play now the video for you that focus specifically on Stellenbosch, the Department of Music and the library.
Stellenbosch University Library and Information Service will host the annual IAML Congress from Sunday the 23rd to Friday 28th June 2024. The main venue is the Conservatorium building, home to the Stellenbosch University Department of Music and the Music Library. Victoria Street is a landmark around which student and academic life centers and is in the heart of the campus. The university's music department is the oldest institution of its kind in South Africa and boasts a proud tradition that spans more than 100 years of dedication to music, education, the performing arts, creative work, and research. Today, this tradition continues in a dynamic and innovative fashion, and the department is recognized as a leading role player in the music life of South Africa. The foyer to the Endler Hall boasts large murals by the late Larry Scully and has some breathtaking views of the mountains surrounding Stellenbosch. The Endler Hall is known for its excellent acoustical characteristics and is used for concerts, recordings, radio and television broadcasts, graduation ceremonies, as well as conferences. The Janasch Lecture Hall is an auditorium-style room which is suitable for presentations, lectures and meetings and is supported by all the necessary multimedia technology. The FISMA Hall is suited exceptionally well for a smaller audience and has recording studio facilities and lighting to facilitate video recording. The Music Library was established in 1934 when the then South African Conservatorium of Music was taken over by Stellenbosch University and became a fully fledged university department. The Music Library is one of the largest academic music libraries in South Africa and offers its clients a representative collection of materials and specialist equipment and facilities, accommodated in a comfortable and functional building designed to meet the specialist needs of the clients of the Music Library. The library is recognized and embedded as a valuable resource in the Department of Music's teaching, learning, and research endeavors. The work collections consist of mainly sheet music, audio-visual material, compact discs, vinyl records, a small collection of audio cassettes, digital video discs or DVDs, and videotapes, books, and journals. Journals are in both print and electronic format, and the Music Library subscribes to subject-specific databases, Oxford Music Online, Rome Abstracts of Music Literature, and Music Periodicals database. The Special Collections section of the Music Library, the Documentation Center for Music, DOMUS, holds 90 unique collections of composers, choirs, conductors, performers, societies, music producers, and of course, collections related to Stellenbosch University. These collections contain various formats, which include books, documents, photographs, music manuscripts, audiovisual materials, and some artifacts. This interesting example of annotations in the margin is taken from the opera The Boy David by conductor-composer Albert Coates. The annotation in the margin refers to the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima on 6 August 1945. Music producer Patrick Lee Thorpe of Mountain Records recorded artists of various languages, backgrounds and styles, and included artists such as Basil Coetzee, David Kramer, Jonathan Butler, Kuni de Villiers, Dizu Plaatjies and his group Amampondu, Leslie Ray Dowling, Robbie Jansen, Zane Adams and Cape Jazz. This rare South African recording of Fiddler on the Roof is from the Faye Singer South African Jewish Music Centre archive. The South African Jewish Music Centre was established by Faye Singer, teacher Stuart Servator, and cantor and teacher Ivor Joffe in 1992 to preserve Jewish music within a South African context by means of performances, presentations, and lectures. The collection also includes scores donated to the centre by local synagogues, cantors, and other individuals. The Eoin Group was founded in District 6 by Helen Southern Holt in 1933. Their amateur opera group participated in art festivals and opera performances and toured in South Africa in 1960 and 1965 and the United Kingdom in 1975. In 2013, the book Eoin, Our Story was published. This was the outcome of a project where initial consultations took place with members of the public and former Eoin members. The project was filmed by filmmaker Arjan Kaganov. South African personality John Roos was the coordinator of the UNISA Music Foundation's music tuition projects and juror at national and international music competitions. A unique part of his collection is clay tablets containing the signatures of South African and international performers and the dates of their performances at his Tauromenium concert venue in Pretoria. The Conservatorium collection represents various activities at the music department, as can be seen in the centenary publication of 2005. The versatile and prolific musician and accordionist Nico Carstens produced 600 works, to which Anton de Waal wrote the lyrics to more than 300 songs. He also published more than 1,000 compositions and produced more than 100 commercial albums. His latest style included a fusion of light Afrikaans music, Afro jazz, and Cape Malay music. The 2024 IAML Congress in Stellenbosch marks the inaugural gathering on African soil. By choosing Stellenbosch as the host city, delegates will have the chance to immerse themselves in our rich and diverse culture, featuring a unique blend of music, art, and heritage. Join us as we celebrate the rich tapestry of music and scholarship at Stellenbosch University, where tradition meets innovation and creativity knows no bounds.
Thank you, Anders, Pia, and Ellen. I will provide a brief overview of our exciting Congress program, including the concerts and excursions, which all promise to make the Stellenbosch Congress a truly memorable, standout occasion. Firstly, regarding the plenary sessions, there will be 2 plenary sessions on the Monday and Wednesday of the conference, with 6 invited speakers in total. While most speakers are local, we are also able or glad to include Judith Opoka-Boateng from the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana. The plenary presentations will provide a thought-provoking mix of local content, combined with discussions on interdisciplinarity, post-colonial practice, repatriation, and a number of burning issues. So I will share my screen with you so I can just show you some of these. Some of the pictures. Let's have a look here. There we go. So I'm just going to play it there. There we go. Okay, so firstly, we will be joined by Dr. Lee Watkins from the International Library of African Music in Makanda, presenting a paper titled Being at the Cutting Edge with a Blunt Knife. Context is Everything at Elam. His presentation will focus on heritage projects in the Eastern Cape to illustrate how the library negotiates and asserts its role as an archive driven by community interests despite its meager resources. Dr. Rick Dejar from UCT is the curator of the Kirby Collection, globally one of the largest collections of traditional African instruments. The title of his paper is Indigenous Musics in Motion: Archives, Organology, and Inspiring Living Traditions. Dr. Dejar asks, to what extent can indigenous musical instruments in collections create or inspire living traditions? And how can this shape how we present and engage with African music collections and creative output? Prof. Sylvia Brainders from UCT will present a paper titled Sustainability, Revitalization, and Repatriation: a dialogue of Lesotho music and culture, in which she will focus on how research on collections problematizes pertinent contemporary academic concerns around indigenous music research, such as the notions of revitalization, sustainability, and repatriation. Judith Opoka-Boateng, who is the Chief Archivist of the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, will present a paper titled The Rhythm of Responsibility, Managing and Activating Music Collections for African Studies. By placing the discussion within the framework of archival activism, she will underscore the transformative potential of music archives in challenging historical narratives, promoting cultural diversity, and advancing social justice. Dr. Bridget Rennie Salonen, representing Stellenbosch University, will read a paper titled Illustrating Transdisciplinary Research Innovation. She will discuss the implications of transdisciplinarity in music education for music libraries to better understand their role in the innovation process for building bridges across university faculties. Finally, Prof. Lieseby Lambrecht from the Africa Open Institute for Music Research will deliver a paper that is interestingly titled Making the Invisible Visible, Investigating the Hidden Life of Fungi in the Archive. The presentation will focus on the Hidden Years Music Archive, a repository of alternative South African pop music, and contribute not only to our understanding of fungal biodeterioration, but beyond the scientific inquiry to a broader appreciation of the symbiotic relationship between archival materials and the fungal life they harbor. Presentations from Africa will not only be limited to the plenary sessions. I'm glad to report that we received a number of submissions from the larger continent, including papers from Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Ethiopia, Burkina Faso, Mozambique, Ghana, and Tunisia. As with previous years, apart from posters and presentations in the 3 parallel sessions, there will also be various committee meetings and time to catch up with colleagues over a cup of coffee. Delegates can also look forward to attending sessions organized by some of our sister colleagues. Digital Libraries for Musicology will hold their conference on the Thursday of the conference, where all individuals registered for the IAML Congress are also welcome to join these DLFM sessions. And the International Association of Sound and Audiovisual Archives plan to hold workshops on the Tuesday of the conference, which again, IAML attendees are invited to attend. Concerts. Apart from a thrilling opening ceremony performance on African instruments by the renowned musician Dizu Plaatjies, there will be 3 completely diverse concert offerings. Attendees are in for a treat with the Africa My Love concert on the Monday night, when the famous Zimbabwean guitarist Louis Mahlanga will lead an ensemble in performing original South African compositions and jazz standards. This showcase aims to highlight the diversity and complexity of various African guitar styles, as well as local languages such as isiXhosa, Afrikaans, and Zulu. On the Tuesday evening, we will move to the Dutch Reformed Church for a very interesting performance by the organist Zerada Temming. Showcasing the color, pitch, and range of the church's organ, Zerada will improvise a soundtrack to the well-known 1921 silent film, The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I guess that will be a first for IAML, and that it will keep all of us on the edge of our seats after a long day of presentations. We will then return to the Endler Hall for an evening of South African music for solo piano and chamber works, with Pieter Grobler, Liesel Stolz, and Matthew Reed performing works by South African art music composers such as Arnold van Wyk, Pieter Classo, and Neil Solomon, as well as pieces by Paul Hammer and famous African icon Abdullah Ibrahim, whose musical language encapsulates Cape Jazz styles and African songs. Now, I would argue that nothing motivates early registration more than seeing the Wednesday excursions slowly fill up. So we have 5 excursions that attendees can choose from, all offering something different in experiencing true Stellenbosch culture. Firstly, attendees have the opportunity to visit the beautiful Blauwklippen wine estate, one of the oldest wine farms in the area, founded in 1682. The estate features an art gallery, market, and many more attractions. Attendees will be treated to a cellar tour and wine pairing with traditional South African foods such as balfour pudding and bobotie. There will also be a non-alcoholic option. The excursion to Friedenheim Wine Farm will give delegates the opportunity not only to taste some of its fine wines, but also to visit the Big Cats Park, which has lions, leopards, and tigers. Friedenheim also distills its own gin and has a showroom where one can taste more than 200 South African gins. For those not interested in fine wine, or I guess those who registered a bit too late, we have arranged tours of various Stellenbosch museums and galleries. The historical walking tour of Stellenbosch will unearth the town's history on foot, visiting various historic buildings. The tour guide will offer glimpses into Stellenbosch's history over the last 3 centuries, after which delegates can explore various wine bars and restaurants in the historic district. The 4th excursion will feature the splendid Rupert Museum of South African Art. The museum has contemporary art from the 20th century. The second half of this excursion will entail a visit to the Stellenbosch Village Museum, which comprises of 4 houses of historical interest and their gardens. These have been wonderfully restored to illustrate a particular style and taste of different Stellenbosch times. The final excursion entails a visit to the Stellenbosch Botanical Gardens, the University Gardens, as well as the University Museum. The Botanical Gardens houses a diverse range of plants, both indigenous and exotic, while the University Museum preserves and promotes anthropological, cultural, historical, and visual art collections. If these excursions have not aroused your appetite, then I'm glad to say that we have even more to offer in our pre- and post-Congress tour. The pre-Congress tour will visit the University of Cape Town for a guided tour of the Bell Music Library and the Kirby collection of rare musical instruments. This collection contains more than 600 musical instruments, many predating urbanization. It includes instruments played by all indigenous South African groups, as well as other musically significant artifacts. The tour concludes with a visit to the internationally acclaimed Kirstenbosch National Botanical Gardens against the eastern slopes of Table Mountain in Cape Town. A visit to Cape Town is not complete without a visit to Kirstenbosch, one of the largest botanical gardens in the world, which features various restaurants, art exhibitions, as well as walkways and trails. The post-Congress tour will take delegates to the splendid villages of Genadendal and Greyton. The rich musical history of Genadendal, a Moravian mission founded in 1738, will be explored by means of a tour of the village and the museum, which hosts various collections and musical artifacts. The tour will then proceed to Greyton, where visitors can explore the village's beautiful mountainous scenery and various offerings in the forms of quaint shops, art galleries, restaurants, etc. Finally, I can just touch on the program for accompanying persons. Apart from the discussed concerts and excursions, accompanying persons will be able to visit the Groot Constantia wine estate on the Tuesday of the conference. Groot Constantia is South Africa's oldest wine-producing farm, founded in 1685 and located in the Constantia wine region of Cape Town. One of the most famous vineyards in the world, with even Napoleon and Jane Austen as former patrons, Constantia offers various culinary delights, wine and cellar tours, chocolate and wine tastings, as well as access to the beautiful estate and manor house. There we go. Let's stop my screen sharing here. I think I did that already. Finally, I can just touch on, from my side, that is all. In summary, good food and fine wine. What more motivation does one need? I will now hand over to Santi and Beulah for the question and answer session.
So maybe just before I hand over to Santi and Beulah, just to say we have to add, because this is what the Congress is about, Wilhelm, good food, wine, and music. So, but that of course goes without saying. So yes, we will be now do the Q&A session. My two colleagues, Beulah Gerike Geldenhuys, she is the head of our music library, and then Santi de Jong, who is our special collections librarian in the music library. So they are here to, if you have any questions in addition to what we have shared with you, they will take over this part now of today.
Okay. Good afternoon, IAML colleagues. Welcome to this. It's lovely to bring this to you today. So we invite you now to post us your questions on YouTube. Is that correct, Kirchner? And also on WhatsApp. Yeah. WhatsApp number 083-792-1207.
Yeah, just +27.
Yeah, just remember the plus 2727. Yeah, all right. Okay, so while we are waiting for you to post your questions, we can start. We welcome questions about food, wine, and music. Definitely. So I will just start with what we think is very important to everybody and what perhaps you're all wondering about. And that is the proximity of the main venue to all the shopping malls, the eateries, the wine bars, and all those things. So it gives me great pleasure to tell you that it's very near to everything. So you will find the Nielsen Student Centre about 3 minutes walk from the main venue. The Kaikipirang Botanical Gardens, it's a coffee shop in the Botanical Gardens. It's only 5 minutes walk. You will have a 7-minute walk down to the Eikenstad Mall, and then 10 minutes and you will be in the heart of historical Stellenbosch, where you can have wine, food, and perhaps also music to your heart's delight. So far, no questions, Kirchner? No questions on the WhatsApp? Okay. Then I will just talk also a little bit about the travel in South Africa. So unfortunately, we do not have a well-developed public transport as you have in Europe and other countries. So it will be better for you guys to use Uber or even rent a car. For the Congress, you know now that we will be bringing you excursions at Blowklip and Wine Farm, and also to Friedenheim. And we will provide transport for that. For the rest, which is in town or near to the conserve, it will be walking, as it was in Cambridge last year. Santi, perhaps you could say something about the weather.
Yep, I thought I could maybe say something about the weather. So, as you know, it's already winter time then in South Africa, but not to despair. The temperatures are roughly between 10 and 22 degrees Celsius, and you can expect to get all kinds of weather conditions in one day. So just be prepared for that, yeah. So just pack your winter clothing. So that's roughly that for that time of the year. And it doesn't mean that you can't go outdoors or so. You'll still be able to do some activities and things outdoor, yeah. So any more questions?
Yeah, we haven't received any questions. Yeah?
No.
2 questions have just come up. The first question is, how shall we get to Stellenbosch from Cape Town Airport? And shall we answer that one first and then I'll ask the next one.
So the question is, how shall we get from the airport to Stellenbosch? So a shuttle will be the best way. We've put on our website under imported information of FAQs. There are links to shuttle services we recommend. So yeah, best way to do a shuttle and get a shuttle beforehand. Also Uber, but I think for airport to Stellenbosch, get a shuttle.
Yes, if I could add to Beulah, so Stellenbosch is about 30 kilometers or less than that from the Cape Town International Airport. It is like in the center between Cape Town and Stellenbosch, so it's fairly close. I think as to add on to Beulah, what I think we could do is, of course, as she had said, you can, of course, use Uber and so on, but we will put on the website some of the shuttle services that are available that you could actually book before you actually get here. The university, we make use of a number of the shuttle services based in Stellenbosch. So we will provide that to you, and then you can actually book with what would be regarded as accredited transport companies, if that is the safest option for you. But there's sufficient transport from the airport, and as Beulah also said, in terms of hiring a car, etc.
And the next question, is it possible to meet with the pre-conference excursion in Cape Town and then return with them to Stellenbosch?
I'm sure we can work something out. So whoever is asking that question, they don't know the question. Kirchner, what is the question?
So the Maya?
Yes.
The question was whether those delegates who want to attend the pre-conference tour in Cape Town, whether they can join it from Cape Town and then return to Stellenbosch, but they don't necessarily have to come to Stellenbosch first and then go to Cape Town. Beulah?
Yes. Just please send us an email to the IAML 2024 email address, and I will take it from there, please.
That's the only two questions for the moment.
Any more questions?
Anything else, Vicky?
Perhaps I can entertain our colleagues with some words that you have to learn before you come to South Africa. So, some common slang, South African slang. We don't see it as slang, but yes, to learn before your trip. Icona. So icona, you will hear, it's a direct translation, means not on your life. Icona, not going to happen. Other one that is used in every language almost in South Africa is lekker. So lekker is a South African word meaning awesome, great, good, it tastes lovely, oh, it's good to be here, oh, you look lovely. It can be anything you want it to be. But do learn the word lekker and you will get far in South Africa if you know that word. The other one, a zebra crossing. So a zebra crossing it's not zebra crossing the street or the road or whatever. It is the local term for a pedestrian crossing because of the zebra stripes. Robot. So in South African, we refer to a stoplight, a traffic light, as a robot. We talk about robots instead of traffic lights. So you can get used to that also. The other thing that you will hear often in English and Afrikaans, it's now or no. So that actually means it will be happening now or whenever, but no, it's fine. It will be happening sometime. So yeah, if you learn those words, and obviously when you greet us, you can say hello, you can say hi. We can do that in all the languages. And yes, so some of the nice words we're going, and braai, Ellen referred to the barbecue. In South Africa, we talk about a braai, and that is traditionally doing meat and sausage and bread on an open fire over a grit.
Lots of meats, but it can also be vegetables.
Yes.
So for the vegetarians, there are definitely also those kinds of food options. And to add to Beulah, one other thing that especially those of you that are coming from other universities, in terms of Wi-Fi at the university, in any of the university facilities, you would be able to use and connect automatically to EduRoam. And then also, even at the Cape Town International Airport, EduRoam is also available there, so you could either use the free Wi-Fi at the airport, or you would also be able to connect to EduRoam. And there will be quite a few other places in South Africa that you would also be able to use EduRoam, including the museums, etc. Anything else?
Okay, if we have time, I can just go through small things that I believe many of you have already looked up on the Googled, yeah. But just to go through it again, perhaps about emergency and important numbers on our information page or FAQs, there will be a link to everything you have to know about that. On which side of the road do you drive when you're in South Africa? You drive on the left-hand side of the road. And on our website, there's also a link to the traffic rules and the regulations. Yeah, the time zone, you should know by now, South African Standard Time, that is what we're using, and that is Greenwich +2. What is the hashtag for the Congress? Hashtag IAML 2024. Yeah, and that is what I have for you at this stage. No questions? Are you looking forward to the food and the wine and the music? I hope so. We hope to bring you a lovely Congress in terms of that. Of course, the program is also important. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. Beulah, maybe you could also just say something about the conference dinner in terms of the entertainment.
Okay. So the conference dinner, the location of the conference dinner is a surprise at the moment. So, but we aim to bring you a really stylish, lovely into the Congress with, of course, lovely South African wines, food and music that is very South African, Cape, Guma, African jazz, music that is very unique to our country. So that is what we endeavor to do, to bring you the uniqueness of our country in terms of, again, the food, the wine, and the music. But we hope to bring you a lovely gala dinner, and I believe you all will find it fantastic. You will.
So here is a challenging question there.
Oh, there's just one question.
Any recommendations for vaccinations?
You don't need any if you come to South Africa. Is it you? Oh, sorry, to Stellenbosch. Okay, any vaccinations?
Yeah, for traveling
to South Africa.
You can add this to the website.
We can add it to the website. We can make an FAQ for you, so we will put it up there. Yeah. So for Stellenbosch, no, but we do not know where there is in the rest of the country you would like to go. So we will put it on our website, a link to what you need.
Yes, just to add to Beulah, so there are no requirements for traveling into the country or leaving the country. But of course, in terms of this particular area, but should you decide to do tours on your own, to go to some of the game parks, and obviously also some of the neighboring countries that people may plan, of course there are health requirements in terms of others beside vaccination, for example, in terms of malaria and so on. So you would have to look at the requirements in those cases if you're going to travel outside the Western Cape, for example. But yeah, that is indeed the current situation in South Africa. So, Beulah?
Yeah, I'm just going to conclude the Q&A. So if there's no more questions, thank you for your time. We look forward to meeting you, to bring you to Stellenbosch and to give you a Congress to never forget. Thank you.